For a big data analytics lab. Let us first review what we have in the laboratory. Since the syllabus has changed, the laboratory practicals also have been updated. So let us try to understand what is required as a part of your practical work in this subject. So basically, in this subject, you are supposed to submit kind of a mini project. Along with, there are some exercises which are, you can say, a simple and different assignments with a different problem statement. So first is in stage 1, you will form a group of 2 to 3 students, and we will go through the various case studies which are related to the big data applications or big data analytics. So sample applications and data will be provided to help students. So obviously that is yet to be formalized, but we will be discussing various applications. Few of them we have already discussed, but still I will give you the glimpse of few other use cases where big data applications are or can be useful or can be provided. But before that, you need to form a group of 2 to 3 students. So here I think a batch of 23. So mutually you can decide a group, and today only I will share you a form in which you will submit the detail of it. So that is the first stage that is required to be done. Then it is in stage 2, the groups will be given a specific task relevant to the case in question and are expected to develop a corresponding big data concept using the knowledge gained in the course and parameters set by the case study scenario. In stage 3, we'll prepare a report, 2 to 5 page report on the results and 10-minute oral presentation. So obviously this will, as I told you, it will be kind of a mini project, so it will continue throughout your semester. So during lab session, we may discuss it one-on-one. So we may discuss with one-on-one group with respect to the problem statement which you have selected and the proposed solution you are targeting. So that will be one part of practical as per the syllabus. Apart from it, we'll be implementing MapReduce paradigm. So for that, these are the 3 cases: matrix multiplication, sorting, and indexing. Then program related to Spark, so distributed cache and map side join, reduce side join, and Spark word count application. So we'll need to implement a a word count application on Apache Spark. Then implementation of matrix algorithms in Spark SQL programming, implementing k-means clustering using MapReduce, implementing frequent item set mining using MapReduce, and creating a streaming based application on messaging using PySpark and Hive with COVID-19 analysis. So you can see it's a very comprehensive practical set. Obviously, the more efforts you will put, the more you will learn and more we can learn together, as I told you. These are some open source software learning websites. So you can go through that. Okay. So this is an overview and this is what we have read, right? And you can also read that. So now let us try to discuss how we are going to implement it. So in stage 1, you will be forming a group. I will be discussing few use cases or few probable statements which can be considered as a part of a big data application. So let us first go through some use cases what do we mean by uh, on the literature, you will find multiple articles or blogs where you will find the various big data use cases. But I found this one kind of a book or a short article just to give you the glimpse of what the people are using or where the people are using big data. So let me start the presentation. Okay. So this is a case study written by Bernard Marr. So it is basically a collection of 7 use cases where big data is being used. So obviously the first in that list is Google. Now what they have been doing, uh, let us quickly just go through this entire. See, I'm not going to repeat each and every, means I'm not going to read everything, but this is just a glimpse of what can be done using big data applications. So there are some products from the Google where actually you can implement big data applications. So there is a big table in Google. Can you see the presentation article? Yes. Okay, thank you. So we have been discussing that Google is the first in this list. They are widely using uh, big data for their various products. Initially, it was all started with this page rank algorithm because Google was initially a search engine. We all know that, and even in that also, they have been using something which is more related to something which is more towards big data. Because the first product, which was the Hadoop, if you will go through that history of Hadoop, but Hadoop was actually being used by Yahoo people initially in 2008, I think. In 2008 or 9, it was used by Yahoo. But before that, before the Hadoop was developed or before the Hadoop was uh, there for use, actually, that was a product which is called Bigtable, I think, which still today also that product is there in GCN also is there. So that product was actually a product by which is somewhat related to big data applications, Bigtable. Initially, it was a proprietary product. Then some part of it is was being published, and due to that, Apache Group has started developing Hadoop based on that product only. So that was the big table initially. It was actually initiated by Google. In 2010, they have launched a BigQuery. Now, BigQuery is basically again, it's a, it's a processing unit, it's an analytic platform. Obviously, it is based on a SaaS model. SaaS means software as a service. So, there are various model nowadays for business model. One is SaaS. SaaS means software as a service. So you can purchase a software on subscription basis. So BigQuery was one of them. Uh, See, this article is very good. I think you should read it completely. I'm not going to read it, but it's a very good article. It gives you the glimpse about what the people are doing when it comes to the big data application. Second is GE, General Electric. Uh, the case was to separate out the machine and tools, which will make G is basically an electrical domain. So they works in an electric domain. So their objective was obviously they have been collecting various data, and obviously they are now using Internet of Things to collect all the data which are there or which they record during their manufacturing process. So the objective is that they are collecting the data through their assembly lines, and then that is being processed to separate out the machines and tools, or to plan out their resource management. So basically they are using big data solutions for resource management. Now, what and why I'm discussing this? The reason is that one of the application you can consider is you take any industry which is generating high amount of data, high volume of data. Now, obviously, that data will be collected by some of the resources which they have been using. For example, a textile manufacturing company, I came across one company who is actually recording the production. In case of textile manufacturing, what we have is, I'm talking especially about the embroidery kind of machines. The one of that machine company was in Sachin, and they have around 1,000 or 1,500 employees. So their objective was basically they are having an employees, and they are on the same post, all the employees. Obviously they all are operators, but there are different machines, and that machine can record a production. So, and that production is actually in terms of stitches, which, for example, if you start at one instance, let's say 8 p.m. in the night, and you can start that recording, and at 8 a.m. in the morning, next day morning, you can stop the recording, and then you can measure what production has been produced. Now, these machines in the it's a huge number, so it's around 100, 200 machines are there. So every day these machines are generating various data. Specifically in this case, it generates the data which related to the production by that particular operator during that single shift. So they want to analyze this, and based on that, they want to give the incentive to their operators. So those operators who are giving high productivity, they should be given more incentive. So that's what their use case. And so that's, I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying this is a big data application. I'm saying that now imagine that you have 100, instead of 100 machine, you have 1,000 machines. Instead of 1,500 employee, you have 15,000 employees. So now that becomes a very huge, and so that becomes now big data application. So these are the one of the use cases that in many of the industry or manufacturing industry, they are using machines, and that machine can maintain logs, and based on that log the machine is generating, you can what you can say, you can optimize your resources. Optimizing the resources means you can give the incentives, you can plan out the new purchase, you can plan out about the dead or the complaints or the defects in the machine. There are numerous things which can be analyzed, but this is one of the use cases, and GE, General Engineering, is working in that domain basically. Third one is Cornerstone. Basically, it's a software tool which helps and assesses and understanding employees and candidates by crunching 500 million data points on everything from a gas price, unemployment rates, and social media use. So basically, this is actually a big data product. Cornerstone is a product in which you can, and one of that client is a Xerox. Xerox is basically a company name. When I was small, I used to say that Xerox is the name of the machine. Actually, it's the name of the company. So the Xerox is using this particular product, which is called Cornerstone. And their use case is they basically record how long an employee is likely to stay in his or her job. By using this product, they are predicting what is the possibility or what is the chances where particular employee will be with the company for this amount of time, because this is now very hot topic and hot problem in the industry that employee used to jump from one to another. And as a employer, as the owner of the business, you always wants to optimize the task, optimize the work which they are going to perform, because you never know when that particular employee is going to leave your company, and that creates a huge problem for the company itself, because they have to train new people, they have to optimize or they have to plan out such thing, training programs and lots of stuff are there, and it has a huge cost when it comes to the service industry. So obviously they need a tool which can assist them to find out that if this is an employee, based on some data points, what are the chances that this particular employee is going to stay with our company. And the results were actually, you can see that data points what they have collected. So data points are measurements taken from employees working across 18 industries in 13 different countries. Okay, so it's a huge data set, and they have they'll be using this. Microsoft, one of the case study we have already discussed, that it has a product called Fair Trade or something, where actually they can predict what should be the rate of the airline fares during this period, because you have to book or you have to plan the rate accordingly. You can't change the rate if the demand is increased, or you can't change the rate once the demand is decreased. So you, at least for next 3 months, you have to give the rate so that people can buy a ticket, airline ticket. But what should be the rate of that particular on that day or at that time, that is to be forecasted, that is to be predicted, because it should be an intelligent one, because it's a dynamic. So for that they have been using one product, and I have gone through that system. Actually, let's just give you a glimpse of it, what they have been doing. Actually, that system was collecting the data from flights all over the world, and that data contains all the airline industries. They have taken the data from obviously their airline industry partners, and the data was about how many people has traveled on which date and which time, through which flight, what was the source and what was the destination. So taken the data set or data points from all the airlines, and based on that they have identified the model which will be giving you the answer about what should be the fare for any particular flight on any particular date. Kaggle, you must have heard the name of this company. If you have not, then you should, you must. Kaggle is not just a software platform where you can actually run your code. It's basically a data science company. So the one part of Kaggle which we are looking at is, it sounds like a competition or something like that, but they are actually beyond this. They have been doing lots of data science stuff. Their objective is to create a community driven or a kind of a those who are actually working on Kaggle is basically a software platform. So they will be raising various applications. It's like your hackathon, something like that. Hackathon is eventual. Here you will find always there are tasks, there are jobs to be performed. The community people, community means me and you both, all the people can post their solution, and the solution with the based results or outcomes will be rewarded, will be paid. So that is what their model is. So obviously for analyzing this, it requires huge amount of processing, because as I told you, it is not just that platform which is being evaluated. They are using their solutions, they are using your models, our models, for their actual clients as well. Remember, it's kind of a crowdfunding, it's kind of just like crowd development, you can say whatever you want to term it. But basically I am writing a code, a piece of code for some task which is only known to me, or sorry, which is known to me, but there is in background, there is another client of Kaggle who is actually required that particular or the output of that task for the another task. So I am actually a developer for Kaggle if I post something on that, and I'm being paid for that. So that's how their business model is working. But the big data comes into the picture when they are analyzing the solutions, when they are actually analyzing the rewards, or what should be the rewards should be given to any particular user. So where they are actually using this. Facebook, it's a very well known topic of discussion. What are the possible use cases? And there is a very huge debate nowadays which is going on. If you are uh, if you are following the news, technical news, then there is a huge war going on between the Indian government and these IT giants. Uh, the toughest of it is Twitter. So Twitter is actually facing lots of issues due to this new government policy, where the privacy of the user can be breached. So government can ask for detail of any Twitter user at any time, not just for Twitter. It is same for Facebook. It is same for any software giant company who want to work in the India. So there is a debate, there is a war technically, and the companies are saying that we cannot breach our privacy. We care privacy, or we give utmost importance to the privacy. Government is saying that no, we need it sometime because we want to do something, we want to do that and that's etc etc. So it's a war now which is currently going on in India, and there is a reason for it. Why both the peoples are interested? Government is interested because they want a total control over a social media platform. They want that what should be published and what should not be published. uh, it's like in China what we have. So, and the designs are actually because they have their own principles and policies. They usually they do not break it, but at the same time they are fighting because they have huge user set in India. The reason all of this is going on because now we are all connected. So one of the application or one of the use cases for big data application is any social network analysis based problem. Like you want to find out, perform the sentiment analysis with respect to some topic, or you want to do the recommendation engine, something like that, that you are recommending some user to something else. So all this Facebook and what they are doing, they are recommending a product, recommending the services to their users. So these are all are big data applications, or you can say uh, Recently, they have been integrating more and more services like influencer, social influencer. So, who can become the social influencer, and what is the influence index of any people on any platform? So, before they hire Akshay Kumar on for some particular product, so they want to make sure that Akshay Kumar is the best guy for this product, right? And that can be done using similar social influence analysis. That is what we call that. For example, if you want to market, or if you want to uh, generate a revenue, or if you want to do advertising for sports related products, then who is the best guy? So obviously sportsmen are there, but if you want to take a people from the movie background, because it's not necessary that everyone is following every sports. So someone is interested in cricket, someone is interested in another sport. So it's rather you choose someone from a common domain. So let's say the movie or the media or the Bollywood or whatever you call is that medium. So now they want to recruit someone from the movie industry to endorse their product, let's say, which is related to the sports. So then they will try to do the social influence analysis that who is tweeting more about sports, who is more kind of a sports oriented, something like that. So you will always find someone like Hrithik Roshan or something like that, because he is more towards the fitness and something like that. So this is called a social influence analysis, and all these social media platform are actually data points for doing all this type of stuff. So this can be one of the application. If you are planning for a case study for your group, then social influence analysis, sentiment analysis, recommendation system for something, social network analysis, who is connected to what, etc. So these all are probable case study which can be considered. Obviously, these all giants, not just Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, everyone is following or using lots of big data stuff for their actual product. Last but not the least, and that is Amazon. Those who are aware of it, okay, Amazon, we know Amazon by uh, amazon.com, that is to buy or to purchase something on online platform. But as a developer, you should understand and you must know that Amazon is not just an online platform where you can buy and sell the things. That is just a very small part of their business. It's like a galaxy where we consider there is a world, but world is very small part of this entire globe, or sorry, entire galaxy. Similar to, if you consider an Amazon, it's like a jungle only. If you see that site aws.com, and if you see the list of products which they are actually providing, products or services, then it's a jungle which we have in Africa. There is almost everything which you can do, similar to now Google is also being converting into that particular Google is also becoming Amazon in that context. When it comes to the PaaS or SaaS, PaaS means platform as a service, SaaS means the software as a service. But Amazon is the only giant in this world who is actually widely used. Even Microsoft Azure is also nowadays getting popularity, but obviously it's a Microsoft, so all the proprietary work, still they are actually providing these kind of services. The point is that where do big data analysis comes into the picture? Obviously, there are lots of stuff. The first thing is that all these services are actually recording the logs, which keeps the track of each and every user activity. So whenever you are doing something, it always, almost everything gets recorded. Excuse me. So it's called an application logs. Now, application logs is actually of no use of user. We do not actually we rarely see that what we have done in the past. We are only interested in what I am going to do and what I am going to do in the future. That is only our concern. Logs keeps every record of every activity. Now, how these logs are useful to these giants? They actually can plan what you can call a recommendation. Let's say I'm hosting an application on Amazon Lightcell. So Lightcell is basically a virtual machine product. So it provides you it's a PaaS product. PaaS means platform as a service. So it provides you a machine, I should not say desktop, but it provides you a virtual machine with some processor, some RAM, some storage. And then you can install your OS, you can do whatever you want in that machine. So Lightcell is one of the product. Let's say I'm using it. Then there they have their own EC2 model as well, which is called Elastic Cloud 2. There was initially it was EC, then now it is known as EC2. So they have their another product. Again, that product is also provides you a platform. You know what is the reason? EC2 was their very first product, I should say. When it comes to AWS, their Elastic Cloud was actually, as per my knowledge, I may be wrong, but as per my knowledge, it was their first product. But I always wondered that why they have used or introduced Lightcell, and there is a reason. Lightcell was introduced because people like you and me, I am not an Amazon user, for example. If I am actually a user, but let's say I am not an Amazon user and I want to start with my machine or virtual machine, I want to host my website or personal something. So I want to buy these online machines. So if I go to the EC2 basically requires, it just gives you a plain machine. You need to install your OS as well. I think OS is provided, but everything else you need to install. But when you go to the Lightcell, they are actually very lightweight machines. So you will not find a machine with more than 128 MB GB RAM in Lightcell, which is there in EC2. So there are very lightweight machines, but what they are providing that you can create an instance. Let's say if you are hosting a WordPress application, then you can straight away start with any WordPress engine. So you just need to click few things and your WordPress server will start. Let's say you want to start with a Ruby based node, or you want some kind of a, let's say you want to start with email server or any of this kind of a stuff. If you are interested in, if you are specific, if your need is very application specific, then you can straight away start. You don't require any further configuration. You don't require to install WordPress. You don't require to configure it, then host it, and then creating a host file. And there are lots of configuration stuff which is required. So what they have doing, they have identified that these are the common use cases. How they have identified? Obviously from the logs which has been generated on EC2. They have observed that since last 10 years, people are coming to this application, and the first thing they are doing is that they are installing WordPress and they are configuring it, and then they are doing this, then that. So what they have done, or what was the outcome out of this? Outcome is that, can we have a machine with default WordPress installation and default configuration? So let's start that machine and then let's provide it straight away to the user. So this is big data application use case. where from application logs, you are actually generating or trying to get an information from the user behavior, user pattern, user interactions with the system. And using that, you are trying to provide a new product. So there was EC2, but then they have observed that this is the thing users are doing. So why not start with the light cell, which can provide a straight away within just a 4 to 5 minutes. You can host your WordPress website on your own virtual private machine. Remember, it's not a shared hosting. It's a virtual machine, so it's highly secure. No one can break it unless you allow them by opening some ridiculous port on your machine, which is by default blocked. See what they are doing. Only two ports are open, the port number 80. Sorry, only three ports are open, port number 80, port number 443, and port number 22. 22 is for SSH. SSH means you can remotely log into the machine. Obviously, that is required because it's a virtual machine. So whatever you want to do, command, that has to be given via that SSH only. So port number 22 is open. Port number 80 is open because you can host some website, web content. So that should be open. And port number 443 is open. Again, 443 is HTTPS. So you want to store or host the secure website. So only these three ports are open on that machine. So obviously, no one from the outside can enter into your system and do any stuff without your permission. How they have identified this? Obviously, via the behavior of the user, via executing the application logs which they have been generating throughout these operations which they are providing. So what I want to convey is that this is how big data applications can be built, can be used. As a student, as a beginner, I obviously know that you are not going to develop any huge product because it requires resource, experience, etc. But what we will be doing in this lab session is your data may be less. It may not be it may not be said as a big data, but the approach will be from big data domain, right? So your data may not be more than 1 GB, but your approach will be similar to what we have or what we follow in the big data application. So again, I told you that let's say you are doing a sentiment analysis and that topic is very small. You may not get the Twitter data easily because it's a paid version. Obviously, all the data are paid, and that is the biggest concern when it comes to this type of an application, that you will not get the data easily. So getting the data set is tough. Either you have to prepare your own, but again, that preparing your own data set is not that always feasible. So you have to become dependent. When, let's say, if you want to perform a sentiment analysis, then you have to be dependent on Twitter only, because people are using Twitter for showing their sentiments. So that's your restriction. You can't just generate a fake data, fake post, etc., etc. Obviously, that's fine for just starting your application. But if you want to have a full-fledged product which will provide some kind of a service to some your subscriber, then you must have original or Twitter data. So again, that is available, but there is a limitations. Unless and until you pay to them, you will not get full-fledged data. But that should not become our limitation. That is what my point is. Let's say if you want to do Twitter sentiment analysis, you can easily create a Twitter developer account. You can find that API, and even though that API will not, let's say you want to do some kind of a news analysis, okay, and you want to perform a web analysis or a news analysis based on some topic, some concern. So for that you require articles, news articles. You may find various news sources, but you want something which will actually help you or some framework. So there is a framework for that, that is called I think news.api, something like that. Let me check. Yeah, there is a product called newsapi.org. So what they will be doing, they will be actually giving you the news published on various news websites like Times of India, Hindustan Times, and they are providing the websites across all over the globe. But obviously, when you go for that this kind of a product, nothing is free on the internet. Remember, actually, nothing is free on anywhere in this world. But especially on internet, there is nothing which is free. Actually, you have to pay for everything. Obviously, if you want to use a free service, then there will be some limitations. So, but that should not become your limitation, because for example, on this news API, you will get news from any news channel which is available on, sorry, news website which is available on that portal, and for up to last 30 days. So you can get the news articles from, if you're firing a query on this date, for your query can go till 30 days if you are a community user. That means if you are not a paid subscriber. But there is a provision that using a free account, you can get a news up to last 30 days. Now, we may argue that the news of last 30 days is not a big data. It's fine. It's not a big data, but we can consider that it's a big data application, and we can start working on that, how to process it, how to do some kind of analysis on news as well. So, this session was just about to give you a glimpse about what we'll be having. Let me tell you very frankly, I am not an expert in this domain. I am also going to study. Let's say if you are raising some query, obviously I have some experience in sentiment analysis, I have some experience in news analysis, I have some experience in influence analysis, I have some experience in text summarization. So I can assist you, I can give you the information about from and where, how you should start. But there will be something in which I may not be an expert. So, but obviously I will give you a location where you can start your work, and you can get your help. So first thing which is required is you should prepare a group. You should identify some topic, and whether or not it falls into the three V's: volumes, velocity, and variety, you should not worry about it, because it's a big, even though it's a big data subject, big data case study, but initially this project, you should not worry about that three V's. You should be, or our objective will be to use the big data framework for this small data or less velocity or less variety data as well. Our objective is to learn the framework or tools which are required, and that should be fulfilled. Otherwise, you will not be able to do anything. That's what my point is. So, come with your idea, come with your application. Today, I will be sharing you a form. You can take time up to 1 week, and you will submit that form in within a week, which will contain your information about group and the possible scope of work which you are targeting. Obviously, I will give you more insight about what exactly should be the problem statement, and that might be useful to you as well. So that's all for today. Anything which you want to ask? MongoDB is not there in as a part of your lab assignment, but we have planned to introduce it. So it will be there. Remember, we will be using MongoDB for at least one or two programs of MongoDB will be there. Yes, anything you want to ask? Otherwise, I will stop this session. Yeah, before